Previously on Best Driver's Car, we captured hard data from each of the 11 contenders and let Hot Shoe Randy Post tell us which 3 didn't belong on a racetrack. On this week's episode, Justin Bell and I get to choose MotorTrend's Best Driver's Car.
You're not supposed to get in laughing like that. Oh my God. Feel that on your neck. Feel that on your neck. Faster, harder. More. Words I've never heard before, but I love them.
I mean, that's amazing for a Mustang. This car weighs 2 tons.
It's like a very confident plus-size model. I'm having fun.
Front heavy. Oh. Very
That's a
front
third
heavy
gear corner. He didn't just do that. That was him demonstrating to me.
I was showing you how they push, right?
You were showing me how easy it is to save it in a negative situation.
I was showing you how to totally with downshift. That's how you do it.
Yeah. You know what this car's saying to me? Justin, give me some more. Now enjoy this. Shut up and listen. It's very hard for him to talk and drive.
Hey!
You feel that you can do 200 miles an hour with a Starbucks in one hand and you know, one hand on the wheel. I mean, considering I've never touched this car before,
Yes.
I feel incredibly at home in it.
In your esteemed estimation. I have nothing to say except for like.
If you had to describe to a little boy what a real car should be like, this is it.
Oh, I got
it! If you did get it.
Oh, I killed a squirrel.
But if you are a squirrel and you're going to get killed by anything, at least make it a 458
Yeah,
Italia.
it's like an honor, right? You know.
We had good fun in every car we drove, but as this is a competition, we had to cut some contenders.
Unfortunately, at this stage of the competition, it's time to cut some more vehicles, and it really is tough with the caliber of cars here. So with that in mind, the next car to go is the Lexus Lfa. Now, it is the Lexus flagship product. I love driving it. The noise is extraordinary, both inside and out. Gives you great feel, the brakes are incredible. But the downsides, well, the transmission literally is a generation behind some of the other cars here. And it's, you know, the dual clutches are so good, this just feels slow. The other thing is, unless you're a pro driver, it doesn't actually fill you with as much confidence as you'd hope for. So, with that in mind, it's not really the best driver's car.
There are 5 cars here with more horsepower than the Corvette Z06, but it's the fastest car around Laguna Seca. It's incredible. However, I think Shakespeare said it best when he said, a throne, my kingdom for a throne. The seats in this car are just unacceptable. I almost got thrown out of the car when Justin was driving. It's just, at this level, you have to be able to sit in the car properly for it to be a best driver's car, and you just can't in the Corvette.
Now, coming into this competition, the Audi R8 was definitely one of my favorite cars. And also, as she's exiting right now, she still remains one of my favorite cars to drive. The problem was, she almost had terminal understeer in the middle of the corners, certainly hampered Randy's lap times. The other thing is, when it comes to it, the Audi R8 is so good, I'm just not sure what the GT spec brought to the table. So, she's gone.
The Ford Mustang Boss 302 Laguna Seca is without question the best Mustang ever made. Unfortunately, there are parts of it that are shared with a $23,000 rental car, and that shows up here on the track, especially with this field. It's a good car, but it's just not the best driver's car.
Now perhaps Jonny and I come to, well, definitely one of the hardest decisions of the competition so far. We're faced with 2 Porsches. So what do you think, Jonny?
This is an actual head scratcher. I mean, I don't know where to start. The Cayman R is wonderful, the Porsche Gt3 Rs is wonderful, but on the other hand, that's wonderful, but then that's also wonderful.
I mean, the Cayman R, it did, I told you I'd never driven one before. It did that and more than I expected. So I just really loved it. But the GT3 RS,
yeah, I mean, the Cayman has wonderful rotation. It has perfect manners. It's just such a good car. But then at the same time, you feel great when you get the 911 to do what you want it to do. You know, you feel like a great driver. It's such a tough choice.
It really was a tough choice, and the most controversial decision we made. Half the staff was pulling hard for the Cayman. But in the end, Justin and I felt the GT3 RS was greater than R. Either way, Porsche made the podium.
I know I'm stating the obvious, but that was one of the best times I've ever had. I mean, it was just incredible.
it really was. And just like any true talent competition, we arguably had 11 of the top cars sold in North America today. And it was really tough. One of the toughest things I think that Randy and myself and you have ever had to do is to whittle those cars down.
Absolutely. We started with 11, we got rid of 8, and now we're down to 3. And you know what? I'm confident in our choice. These are the 3 best drivers' cars. But we got to figure out which one's the best driver's car.
So test track, Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, what's next?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take these 3 and go to one of my favorite roads in California and see how they do in the real world.
Coming up next, the road trip. Welcome back to MotorTrend's Best Drivers Car. Well, we started the competition with 11 of the best drivers' car on sale in North America today. And here are our 3 finalists. So, Johnny, tell us a little bit about the cars and how they made it.
These 3 really are the cream of the cream. Now, what's remarkable to me is how different they are, yet on the racetrack yesterday, they were all within a half second of each other. And let's break them down. Here we've got the Porsche 911 GT3 RS, and it is old school. It's rear engine, it's naturally aspirated, and it still has a manual transmission. On the other end of the spectrum, we have the Nissan Gtr. This is better driving through science. It's front engine, twin turbo, it's all-wheel drive, and it weighs 2 tons. Half of that weight is its computers. Then you've got the Ferrari 458 Italia, and this one's an intriguing mixture of the new and the old. It's a classic mid-engine, rear-wheel drive supercar, but it's got a lot of fancy electronics that help it kind of go faster and work better.
So you could say that all 3 cars had the same destination, but that they got there by vastly different routes.
Extremely different routes, absolutely.
So we had the dynamic testing, we had the racetrack, which was mine and Randy's world, and now we're on the open road. What are the MotorTrend criteria for such a road test?
Well, there's a couple of things we look for. On the racetrack, the ride quality, it just isn't that important, but in the real world it is. If it's going to be a best driver's car, you have to want to drive it. You don't want a car that beats you up. If your favorite road is 2 hours from home, you don't want to arrive a sweaty mess. The other thing is, the car still has to make you feel good, even if you're not flat on a racetrack. You have to want to drive it in all sorts of conditions, not just in extreme conditions.
So 3 absolutely stunning finalists here. Johnny, just one last question.
What's that?
What are we doing standing here?
I do have the key to the GT3 RS in my hand.
It's your turn. Now, one of the things you mentioned in every car yesterday was the confidence that that car gave you on the track to do your thing. What do you feel here?
I actually feel more confident today on the road than I did on the track in this thing. I mean, the thing is with 911s is, especially the older ones, in the back of your head, you always got, it's gonna plow, it's gonna snap around on me, it's gonna come around. I just don't have that with this car. Now, it very well might do that, but it's a nice feeling not to have. It just, the steering is so good. It's more than precise. I mean, the feedback you get is telling you where it is, what it's doing. The ride is, the car's just so tied to the road. Throttle response is great. And I gotta say, unlike a lot of the other cars, it's really nice to have 3 pedals. So Justin, yesterday at the track, you were saying that the GT3 RS, it it's the first car that really woke up the race car driver part of your brain.
Yeah, it really did, and it still does. Just to give you a heads
So
up.
on the road, you're getting that same sense.
Yeah, I mean, what it allows you to do is to have 100% control of where the car is on the road at any point in the corner. And you talk about confidence, I talk about positive sort of reinforcement of what I think I can do in a car. I mean, right now, this is a very well-behaved sports car on the road, right? I mean, we're not bouncing around, we're not leaping around, but when I want to drive a little bit faster, I mean, it is absolutely spectacular. If you are a driver, I don't mind of what level you are, you will be able to be rewarded for the more focus, the more concentration, the more energy and application you put into your driving. Right. Because, you know, driving is not about Starbucks, phone, you know, pulling up to the supermarket. That's what we do in everyday life.
Right.
But this is the best driver's car competition. So if you fancy yourself as someone that is a decent driver and enjoys driving, and it's a pastime, it's a habit, it's a hobby, this is pretty darn good.
Okay, so yesterday was your first time really pounding on a GTR, and to say you were impressed is a gross understatement. I mean, you were giddy getting out of this car.
Giddy, completely. It absolutely is a car that rewards and stimulates and encourages bad behavior on a track. I mean, but when I say bad behavior, I mean pushing yourself to the limit, because it does what it does extraordinarily well. I do feel as though I'm sitting on top of a big ball at the moment and bouncing around. I mean, can you feel that as we go through there on the bumps? It's like I'm having to place the car and modulate my position on the road just to be able to hold it.
But how are you feeling that you're going to lose it? Or
no way am I going to lose it. It's just when I go off the cliff, I will have all-wheel drive.
You'll be curious as to why you lost it.
Yeah. It is an extraordinary car, but it is a car that wants to be driven on the edge all the time. Right. I'm not sure about how it is in just an everyday situation. That's just my take on it.
Yeah, but what about go back to the GT3 RS for a second. I mean, this seems to be a lot faster than that car, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
I mean, it's got acceleration and hookup and traction that is almost second to none. And it's the way it delivers that power too. I mean, it's that raucous through. But I am not getting, you know, if I can, but to be clear, as a race driver on the road now, I rely a lot on what I feel through my hands, the seat of my pants, you know, through my feet, through my eyes and ears, and it's as though the car is doing so much for me. I'm not quite sure how I'm doing what I'm doing,
right?
And I'm not entirely comfortable with that. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, Justin, as an automotive journalist, I listen to my stomach, and my gut is telling me that this car is incredible. The guys from Ferrari were telling us that they've taken everything they know about the GTR and they've entered it into their Nürburgring simulator, and they cannot figure out how it goes around that thing so quickly. Randy was standing there, and he said, "Oh, I know why. Driver confidence. You can be more confident in this car than you can be in anything else. It's just going to get you through." Now, is that the computers and all the blah, 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 blah doing it for you?
Does that matter?
Is it better driving through science? And who cares at the end of the day? I mean, I just feel wonderful.
You feel like quite a monster in this car. I know.
I do.
You definitely look a little taller to me right now. A little more masculine.
Well, the other thing is, I felt you were able to drive the 911 a little bit harder than I was, but I feel I could drive this about as hard as you could on this road.
Yeah, I agree.
And
I agree.
And that really is something to consider for, you know, best drivers.
Now I'm going to watch this very carefully, because on the track, this car gave you a bucket load of confidence. And we just got out of those other cars, and you're king of the castle right now. Yeah. So what do you feel like?
You know, this car just feels more athletic than those guys. I know I can brake later in it. Even I shouldn't say that. I think I can brake later in it. I feel I can turn in later in it. I feel as confident in this as I do in the GTR. And here's the thing. I'm probably driving this just as quickly as I drove the GTR, but I feel even better. I mean, this is, look at that.
You know, an observation for me sitting next to you is you're very precise in this car.
It feels smooth, very smooth. It's easy to be smooth. And you know, if you think about it, the Ferrari, the 458 Italia, is a mix of the other two. It's all that good old school stuff with all the, you know, and then the electronics where you need it. It has the art where it should be and the science where it should be. I mean, it's just an incredible vehicle.
Yeah. What about steering feel?
It's the best I've ever felt in a road car. I've driven open-wheeled stuff, like a Caterham 7 maybe. That's a little bit better, but as far as an actual production car, this is the best steering feel. This is the best brake feel. The throttle feels perfect.
I mean, I don't know if this means anything in the evaluative nature of our test, but the Ferrari is so good. It makes me as a passenger feel so good. I would make out with you right now.
The Gt3 RS, it makes me feel good when I do something good. The GTR just makes me feel like a good driver, right?
Yeah.
This makes me feel lucky. This makes me feel special. This is it.
I mean, I don't know whether it's faster than me in the Nissan or me in the Porsche, because they're extraordinary.
But you feel better.
It's also handling the bumps and the transitions very well.
At about 100 miles an hour very well. I mean, this is
for the California State Police, he didn't mean 100, he meant 100 kilometers an hour.
Silly me.
No, it really is. And what I like about the Ferrari is I've driven this on the more sedate roads, and I still felt good about myself. So, and right now I'm getting a little bit racy and sporty on this mountain road, and whew, can I tell everyone that's watching this, before you die, you do need to do what we're doing now.
You absolutely must do what we're doing now.
Boom! Feel those brakes.
It's really good, isn't it?
It's really good. I mean, it really is good. Well, we're coming to the end of our competition, and you know, Johnny, I still can't believe how difficult this elimination process has been for the entire MotorTrend team. After all these cars are superb.
That's right, Justin. I mean, there is no bad choice here. We've run out of negatives. There's nothing bad to say about these cars. But we have to make a decision.
Yeah, we do have to find a winner. So let's start first, the Ferrari 458 Italia.
I mean, the Ferrari let you and Randy be the best race car drivers you could be, and it made me feel as if I was a race car driver. It's a wonderful machine.
As every good car should do. The Nissan Gtr.
I've seen the future, and the future is good. One of my favorite points of the whole competition was watching you climb out of a GTR for the first time after banging it around Laguna Seca. You were like a kid on Christmas morning. I mean, the car is amazing.
And last but not least, of course, the Porsche Gt3 Rs.
Yeah, I mean, this is the seasoned veteran. This is the old school warrior. This is probably the last 911 that's ever going to have a manual transmission. And this car has been defining the best driver's car for decades, since before you and I were born. But it's still so good, it's here. All three of these cars are so good, they're almost beyond description. However, we have to have a winner. And for 2011,
the MotorTrend Best Driver's Car is...
the Ferrari 458 Italia. We started Best Driver's Car with 10 very good cars and 1 exceptional one. The Ferrari was not only Randy's favorite car of the competition, but Justin's and mine as well. In some areas, some competitors came close, but at the end of the day, the only question remaining is what color to order the Ferrari in, because the 458 Italia is MotorTrend's best driver's car.
Can we shut that bird up? You are very noisy. They are. They're doing something out there. That bird.
Yeah. Then we've got the, sorry.
Don't mind.
Yeah.
Are we ready?
I'm very good. I'm very, yeah.
Okay, take 2. Actually more, like take 5, but we'll do this one. He doesn't talk about it anymore.
You want to show us what you got?
I'm ready.
All right.
We little.
That's a little clunky at the end. But let me...
That was like crossing.
One take. Actually, still take
One shot, Johnny.
2 shots. 1 shot, Justin. 1.5.
Sorry.
Well, I think you're gonna need this.
That was the worst. That was the worst puffing I've ever heard in my life. So, hello. Do you like this? Yes.
Airplane.
That's far away.
Oh, they hate airplanes.
Oh, I hate airplanes. Coming up next, the road trip. Shooting me on that shooting range. You've got nothing to bounce. 11 of the top best cars on Stale in Stale.
The best driver.
Best driver's car.
Oh,
Yep.
if you're listening, I'm pissing right now. This is the sound of me urinating on a barbed wire fence. I hope it sounds good.